Joseph Frank Mix, my father, Vietnam, 458th, Army, 70 to 71.
Leonard Benson, World War II, Purple Heart.
I am so grateful to all veterans. One I want to mention, my favorite veteran was my dad, James R. Fenley Jr. My dad never left rural Texas until he joined the Army after graduating from high school, and he did that so he could be the first one in his family to go to college, which he successfully did after the Army. So my dad is a Korean War veteran. Thank you to all veterans out there.
Hi, my name is Mark Gunther, and I'm proud to walk in honor of a man named Will Kozlowski, who served in the Army during the Korean War.
J. Francis Frank, Army, World War II, Peter Olinger, Air Force, and Michael McIntyre, United States Marine Corps.
My father, Raymond Ennis, was in the Navy for the Korean War.
David Francis Scott Jr., Korean War.
My dad.
My dad, Michael McIntyre, Marine Corps. My uncle Jack Pomaro, Marine Corps. My uncle Steve Lane, Army and Vietnam veteran.
Staff Sergeant Robert Roman, Vietnam War.
Hi, the most important veteran in my life is my father, Richard Teschner. He was in Vietnam and he was in the Army. He was part of the Big Red 1, the 1st Infantry Division. So he was one of the first people to go over to Vietnam. And one of his major roles was in communications. He laid ground cables so the troops could communicate. And he also drove a Jeep, and he was very proud that he would be able to drive his sergeant around. And he is still very active as far as being a veteran, and very fortunate that veterans get a lot of support, and he uses a veterans hospital in Madison for some of his health needs. So thank you for serving, Dad.
Justin Benetucci, Army National Guard, and Ted Goldberg, Korean War.
Jack Igluski, U.S. Air Force, Korean War. George Wade, U.S. Army, Korean War.
Very proud of my husband and my son who have served in the military, and I'm also very lucky because I have a grandpa on both sides of my family. Both grandpas have served in the military, so I'm proud of all.
My father-in-law, Jerry Lambert, is an Army veteran who served in the Vietnam War.
Hi guys, my dad was Vietnam vet. He was an Army sergeant in Vietnam, so proud of that fact, and so is he.
John O'Donnell, World War II, Army.
I have 3 veterans I'd like to recognize. First, Patrick Hood, Marines, 2nd Iraq War. Eric James Hiltner, Army, 2nd Iraq War. And last but not least, Lenny Merrick, Vietnam War, 1966-1967, 1st Battalion, 26th Marine Corps.
George Heinzelman, glider pilot, World War II.
Arthur Hecht, World War II, Navy.
Shout out and thanks to my cousin, Mark Dreesen. He served in the Iraq War. He was a commander and he won a Bronze Star for bravery.
Tommy Myers, Vietnam.
Hi, my name's Danielle Freeman, and I'm proud to be running on Veterans Day in honor of my father, Robert Fonzino, who served in the Vietnam War.
One of my favorite uncles, my Uncle Bill, who served in the military during the Vietnam War. He told me all about it when I was little, and he went there. I'll never even forget the date. He went there in April of 1967 and came back in April of 1968. The day he went there was the day my oldest son was born. He was also one of my favorite people, and I just want to shout out to him that thinking of you, and you're one of my favorite people of all time.
My brother-in-law, Richard Root, who was a Marine in Vietnam.
Joe Bernanke, World War II.
My grandfather, Frank Vandiver, served in World War II in the Navy, and my step-grandfather served in Korea.
Buckley, World War II, Pacific Theater.
William Smith, my grandfather, Army in World War I, and Leroy Seligman, my great-uncle, Navy in World War II.
Deshaun Richard, United States Marine Corps. Francis W. Lawrence, New York 94th Volunteer Infantry, Civil War.
Warren Johnson, chaplain in the U.S. Navy, World War II.
Robert Fonzino, Vietnam, Army.
My Uncle Bill Schaefer in World War II.
Tim Paschke, United States Air Force, currently serving overseas.
Paul, Ray, and Roy Hamrick, Korean War, United States Army.
Kevin Bach, Vince Lensing, Franklin Bertha.
Paul Michael Selesky, United States Navy, World War II, Mediterranean Theater.
Lieutenant Colonel Larry K. Fish, Desert Storm.
Harold and Burl Norris, World War II.
Albert Lazzarato, 25th Infantry, Vietnam War.
I'd like to recognize Leonard Kielbasa, who served in World War II in the Navy, mostly in the Philippines during his tour.
Theodore Anderson, U.S. Navy, World War II.
Leo Lesoltado, my uncle was in World War II, and Nick Lesoltado was in the Korean War, and Michael Shields was in Vietnam War, a friend of ours.
Dr. Herbert Ott.
My father, Erwin R. Lamensdorf, served in the Army.
Colonel Dean Espenschied, United States Army, Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Private First Class Bobbiano, U.S. Army.
Wayne Klasmer, my father, MP for Vietnam.
I would like to recognize Rich Moore, Army, Korean War, Pat Moore, Navy, World War II, Bobby Powers, Army, World War II, Stuart Powers, Army, World War I.
Honoring my nephew, Alexander Verduzco, Kuwait.
Patrick McManaman, Marines, World War I. Wayne Hill Jr., Army, Korean War. Charles Murkowski, Navy, World War II. Joseph Murkowski, Navy, World War II and Korean War.
Charles Wigan, U.S. Navy, V-1 Division, Vietnam War.
Jasper Newton Hatfield, World War I, U.S. Army. John Neville, World War I, U.S. Army. Robert Hatfield, World War II, U.S. Navy. Johnny Neville, World War II, U.S. Navy. Bob Neville, World War II, U.S. Army. Chuck Hatfield, Vietnam, U.S. Marines.
James Russell, U.S. Navy, 98 through 2004.
Michelle Morgan, United States Army.
I would want to acknowledge both of my grandfathers for their service in the Army. Robert Mitch, who was a captain during World War II and fought and won his battle in the Aleutian Islands, and Joe Edel, who was a lieutenant colonel and served during Vietnam and also received a Purple Heart for injuries sustained during the Korean War.
John Robert Daly, United States Army, World War II. Shane Robert Daly, United States Marine Corps, Iraq War.
I'm doing this on behalf of my father, who was in the Army back right before the time of the Vietnam War. A very exciting time in the world of history, also a very stressful time. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hi, I walk for Ed Baker, U.S. Army, Specialist 4, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry, Panther Battalion of the Vietnam War, drafted December 22nd, 1967, honorable discharge January 30th, 1968.
David Dorsey Sr., Navy, World War II.
Norm Peel, U.S. Coast Guard, retired.
I would like to honor the following veterans. Earl Meringer, Marine. Edward Barnick, Army. Claire Larson, Navy. Eugene Griffin, Army. Kenneth O'Reilly, National Guard. Walter Barnick Jr., Army. Frank Howanitz, Army. James Barnick, Air Force. Tammy Barnick, Air Force. Dave Dolan, Army. And Joy Dolan, Army. Thank you so much to all of our veterans.
To thank my father-in-law and my father for their service, John Brown and Dan Duggan.
Orville Ludwigson, World War II, and he served in the Coast Guard.
Dwight Walton served in the Air Force in Korea.
Shout out to Kenneth Sisson, Korean War vet,
And Richard Riley, World War II vet. Awesome.
Thank you.